Started. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the Your Mates Investor webinar. I've got the two founders of Your Mates here, and I'm really excited to be able to provide everybody with this opportunity to learn more about the business and actually ask your burning questions about it just before we launch the investment offer next week. By way of introduction, my name's Robin. I'm here representing Birchal. I've been working with these guys for a long time now, and it's been fantastic to see just how much interest this business has been able to collect at this expression of interest stage. And this opportunity is really yours. So what we want to do is tell you a lot about the business and the upcoming future plans. The guys have got a bit of a presentation that they're going to be running through in the first 20 minutes or so. And the rest of the time is going to be used to answer your questions. So what I'd really like to do is invite everybody to use the Q&A feature. Ask your questions in there. I will be picking them up and asking the guys to answer them after the presentation. So I'll hand it over to you guys to run through your presentation. Of course, introduce yourselves.
Hey, how you going, guys? If you don't already know, I'm Matt Hepburn. I'm obviously one of two founders. I look after the sales and marketing in the business.
Cool. G'day, guys. My name's Kristen McGarry. Look after everything beer related here at Your Mates. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and join us virtually.
Happy Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, mates. Cheers. So yeah, we got a little presentation that we're going to run through, and we will bring that up right now and get stuck in.
Yeah. So I think what we wanted to do is really address not just a business strategy, but essentially our Your Mates vision and purpose. I think that's bigger than a business strategy that you can just dump on paper. So I think just to be mindful, we have had a massive amount of interest in this, and we have been absolutely bombarded with questions. So if you have emailed a question over, I do apologize. We have, I've actually got one of my existing investors on board to help filter through those. And we have also uploaded a FAQ page to the website. So there's a lot of information on that website that if you haven't had your question answered, it's probably on there. So please read through that first, just for my sanity and your time efficiency. And we will try and answer any questions that you have this afternoon. But yeah, it's exciting. This is massive for us. It's obviously gearing up for the future. Anyone who wants to invest over $10,000, just a reminder, I'm sure you've been onto this as well, Robin, to get a wholesale accredited certificate from your accountant. If you do want to invest over that amount, we do require that to proceed as well. But yes, next Tuesday is the day. That is the 18th that this goes live.
Yeah, cool. The crowdfunder, the offer document will come out then, and yeah, the website will go live where you can hop on then and hopefully invest.
Yes, so just running through what we'll be discussing, we're just going to try and quickly run through our story. We could get caught up for 20 beers there, but we're going to try and make it as quick as possible. Just talk about some milestones throughout the years, talk about the principles, the vision and mission for our business. Christian's going to touch on the past and present financials. We'll also discuss and go over our first quarter of this year. Touch on our business strategy for the next 12 months and obviously looking further towards the future. Talk about the crowdfund capital investment. Talk about our reward, well, your rewards and rights if you come part of the Your Mates journey, and then we'll go into Q&A. So just being mindful of everyone's precious time on a Tuesday afternoon. We'll try and accelerate through this, but again, we will try and yeah, spend as many beers as we need to answer any questions that you guys have. So beliefs, our beliefs. This wasn't a clever marketing agency who came up with that. That was us on a couch and a few beers. But yeah, I guess in 2013, Christian and I, we kind of started this journey, and really the belief back in those days, we're going to some little craft beer round tables, and there were blokes sitting around with balding hair. They were 50 years old, and we were really enjoying the beers, and it was a pretty tight group, I think you'd say. It's a pretty, exclusive group. But we really enjoyed craft beer, and I think that's when we saw that gap in the market was, where's the beer for young beer drinkers? Where's the independent craft beer for people who like drinking beer? And that was it. Brewing beer is hard. I can't brew beer, by the way. I've never brewed. I brewed our first batch of beer, but I can drink it, and it is pretty easy to drink around, mate. So
yeah, one batch and never again.
I've been kicked off the brew kit. I've put it as a mission to learn how to do a batch one day, but I mean, that's where it all started. Should just be focused on what beer does. We don't talk about hops too much unless we're in the R&D room. So drinking beer is simple, and that's where this business began. That's where Your Mates started.
Cool. The early days where it really started.
Plenty of stories in this page.
So yeah,
top left,
the 2 Roderick Street, Moffat Beach. I was living in a little brick shit house. Matt was a friend of a friend who needed a room. We moved in and clicked instantly.
That's not our room. That's our garage.
That's our garage. That's the Scrapyard Bar, the birthplace of Larry the Larry Can Pale Ale. We converted that into a little R&D facility, I guess you'd call it as well. But yeah,
it didn't taste like Larry in those days.
Matt and I, we clicked really quickly, and we were doing different jobs and weren't really frothing on what we did, and which was part of the whole reason that this business came about, is we wanted to get up in the morning and froth on what we do. We fell in love with beer with flavor, and didn't see a beer that represented us in the market, and thought, how bloody hard could it be to start a brewery? Fast forward almost 10 years later, pretty bloody hard, but we've gotten to a place that's exceeded our wildest expectations. But back in those days, we spent a lot of time in the 2013 to 2018 period learning how to brew, learning how to start a business, learning how to.
My handcrafted decal up there. We did things a lot of the time the hard way. I think.
Everything handmade out of
everything
necessity.
had to be handcrafted. Was the process about that?
We just it was good because we had a long period of time that we weren't actually selling beer. We weren't actually available on the market where we could come home after working at the bar, which we were doing at that time. We were doing the brewery during the day, and then we were going and working at Matt's bar at night, learning hospitality, learning how beer systems work, and then we'd come home and we'd grab a couple of knockoff beers, and we'd shoot the shit and brainstorm ideas for brewery names. We had some shocking names back in the early days, and when we did actually register our ABN, I think at the time it was Salty Dog Brewers, which the Commonwealth Bank still sends us out our statements addressed to Salty Dog Brewers. But yeah, we stumbled across the name Your Mates Brewing Company, and it just clicked. It fit. It represented everything we wanted to do with beer, everything that was good about beer. We quickly then fell onto the idea of giving the beers personalities, making them approachable and relatable. And it's all back in those early days that all these ideas came about.
And arguably, we were probably drinking a lot more beer back then, so the creative juices were flowing. But we were young. We were definitely passionate and eager. That passion hasn't stopped, but we were definitely working much bigger hours than we are now. Thankfully, those have subsided. But the bottom right, you can see our first professional brew kit down there, which is a Brewing, so gravity fed through some really high structured engineered pieces of milk crate. And the bottom left, that's our first shed, 30 Allen Street. So that's where we were for about 5 years. And surprisingly, we could fit 115 kegs in triple stacked in that cold room. We decided to have more of our room dedicated to the pool room table for some reason, but it just made sense for the parties that we throw on, and we had to give away a lot of free beer because it was the age of the average ale, we called it, to really spend 5 years perfecting this beer. We wanted to make sure that We had one beer that could be drunk for every occasion, and you could drink plenty of them and still go back for another one. So spent a lot of time really focusing on this product. And obviously Christian was upskilling himself, not just on a small kit, but how many breweries have you brewed at?
Yeah, we used about 5 different breweries. So during this time, we have no money to our name. We contract brewed, so we take our recipe to another brewery, get them to brew a volume of beer, and then all of the profit that we get from that batch of beer, which is not a lot when you're contract brewing, would just go back into brewing more beer next time and just growing that way. And it took a long time. Yeah, so that's 5 years that we went where it was just the two of us doing everything in the business, and it was a great opportunity for us to really intimately understand all the different areas of the business as well. We quit the bar that Matt's brother owned, and opened up a little bar in Nambour called The Basement. That was one of the coolest spaces that I've ever drunk in. And if you had the chance to go up there, cheers, mates, because that was a beautiful little spot, which took us to working full time for ourselves, paying ourselves a meager salary, and then cash flowing the brewing business.
Definitely, and that took us to 2018. I think, off the back of having our own venue, we definitely we're at the stage where we needed to scale. There's no profit in other people brewing your beer. Christian was actually started brewing up in McLeod's at the time, and we were making small profit, but we went on to Shark Tank at the start of 2018, and that was when, and we already had it. We were working on we'd done pitches everywhere, pitches to VC funds, to being angel investment areas, and I guess that's learnt a lot from those pitches. But we obviously had the opportunity to jump on a Shark Tank, and they put an offer down. They didn't show it on air, but they did put an offer down, and they did want 51% of the company, and it was well above our number, and we politely declined that. And we knew what we had. We knew the brand, and we knew the vision of the business that we wanted to create. We just needed that seed capital, and fortunately enough, we had some amazing people around us. We had some really close friends and family, and even some strangers that had been watching us very closely over the years, and became investors. We raised $1 million, and off the back of coming in and having our meetings at 30 Allen Street, and to transform our business to, if anyone's been, 41 Technology Drive's an amazing venue. So they took a massive leap of faith with us.
We went against we got some mentorship from Steve Baxter and Glenn Richards after, who said, don't take on a bunch of investors, just take on one person with who's got all the cash. And we went with 15 friends, family, like Matt said, people who had been watching us, who instead of investing in another property, jumped in and believed in what we were doing. And we're all the stronger and so much better for it, we think.
And actually jumping into this round, some of them jumping into this round as well. So super, really not involved in the business, but trust us immensely. And again, a couple of them were strangers, and now some of my best mates. We go fishing all the time. So fast forward to December 2018.
So gone from 2 people, 5 years. We opened the doors to our dream brewery of the Friday before Christmas Day of 2018, and 23 full-time staff in that first few months of the business. Had to expand significantly, and the second part of our journey with teammates begins.
It was mayhem. It was absolute mayhem. I was a project manager before all of this, and it was $1 million does not go far when you're investing in stainless steel and opening up a kitchen and a brew pub. So I was on the floor literally every day. I did not hire a designer. We didn't have money for that. So just designing as we went, and obviously went from 1 staff, to 23. It's steep learning curve that Christmas. Merry Christmas, but launched with a bang. We're overwhelmed with how much I guess, how big the following we had on the Sunshine Coast at that time. So,
and the change that came through having bricks and mortar, having somewhere that people could come, having somewhere that we were brewing the beer ourselves, we had control, and we really started to mature into a true brewery.
It was a dream come true. Like, that was what we were working towards. 1,100 square meters came into the space. This place is massive. We need to sublease some area, and then 12 months later, that was not the case. We were scrambling for space. But what do we get? We voted number 5 in Gabs that year. So we try to put our best foot forward in this space of our business. We're still struggling to keep up with supply, but also we're pretty confident with our brand and our community to back us as well. And absolutely taken back. I know I was away that year. I was up in Rainbow Beach doing a pub shout, and Christian McGarry and I were on the phone, and we started crying together like little babies on the phone. But that was, it was an amazing time. And that was 2019, the year of steep learning.
Then 2020. So the team's up to about 30 people. We're going strong.
No management team.
Doubled in revenue, doubled in volume from 2019 financial year. And the spicy cough, COVID, came and threw us for 6.
Yes, very obviously anyone who owns a business and anyone can relate to that. It was a very, very testing time, more about the unknown. We held on to all of our staff for as long as we could. We fired 85% of them and then rehired them all back a week later with JobKeeper. And it was very testing. We put them all on 100% because we knew if we were going to get through this, it was on the back of our team. And a lot of these guys are still working with us. They definitely rode this roller coaster of a ride. Our pub shut down, so our biggest cash flow generator and profit generator immediately closed. 50% of our wholesale revenue as well. Obviously, other pubs closed down. So it was tough. But again, we pivoted. We opened up a little outdoor bottle shop and saw us still achieve some amazing revenue numbers through there. Again,
take away beers, take away burgers.
Sunshine Coast of pissheads. That helped for the beer economy. But it was interesting. We kind of one of our teammates was like, oh, we should have other plans in place. And Christian and I at this stage was like, you cannot plan for this. You just have to look forward. And as we did, we renovated the venue and again, volume increased. We were fortunate to have ranging in every BWS and Liquorland in the state in Queensland, which really saw us not just survive COVID, but saw us flourish. So that was, it was surprising. It was surprising, but very testing at the same time.
Yeah, we learned a lot that year. Even with those massive hits, we did double in revenue and volume again. And Larry was voted the number 4 beer in Australia. Blown away yet again that he was continuing to climb the ladder.
Gary came back and was DJing on Friday nights in the drive-through. I'd love to see that again. Same.
2021, we learned about the importance of team culture, and as our team continued to grow, we're up close to 40 full-time staff. We started up our annual sports day, and we got Team Eddie and Team Macca and Team Larry all competing for the coveted prize. And
Team Eddie.
It's been another huge year. We've invested in capacity. We've invested in a management team who's helping us make those right decisions, not only now but for the future. So we've identified that our business is growing at a rate that we need to have experienced people on board helping us make those decisions. And we've got a full leadership team now to not only support Matt and myself, but to support the team that are working here.
And at the start, I think just to say, we didn't invest in managers because we wanted to put all of our profit into growth. Christian and I kind of decided to manage 30 people, and that was, again, had its challenges, but bringing a management team on board. A lot of people said we should have done that a long time ago, but probably we wouldn't be here where we are at the level our business is at. We decided to utilize that profit. So again, I think it's something to acknowledge. Christian has stepped out of production, which is definitely his wheelhouse, and jumped into the world of financials. He's our acting CFO, and again, we absolute godsend. He's a bloke who does something 110%, and he's an absolute wizard on the Excel spreadsheet. So having himself really kind of take that step and take that responsibility on has been a huge asset to our business, a huge asset to our growing business capability, and really being able to forecast and cash flow that forecast. It's a very, very tricky minefield, the manufacturing and wholesale business of beer, as any FMCG CFO or CEO knows. So really, really, really proud that Christian stepped up and into that role. It's not a forever thing, but it's really helped us elevate our business performance in that area.
Still get to sign off on and taste every beer that exits the facility. Don't worry about that. I haven't lost that fun part of the job, which I take very, very seriously. But yeah, we really matured financially as a business, learning more about our revenue and cost of goods and profit drivers, so that we can set things up. So when we achieve some scale, that we can really make sure that we're not just increasing our cost base, but increasing our profitability.
I think that's something to acknowledge. From the outset, I think a lot of people who haven't been to our business or actually even spoken to us probably just perceive Your Mates Brewing Company as a brewery that brews a good beer and has a really good marketing department, and that's it. But what we're really proud to do, and what I'm proud to do, is showcase our business performance and our financials. And even in some of the testing times in Australian FMCG industry, we've not only survived it, but we've flourished as a brand and as a business. And I think when we go over the first quarter of this year and we look towards the future, it's going to be very promising. Not only as a brand, but just opportunities that will arise. So yes.
Cool. So we actually locked in ranging in all Dan Murphys nationwide during this period as well with Larry. So Larry's now available everywhere, every single Dan Murphys in the country, which is, it's an awesome tool for us. Whilst our sales strategy is really about saturating Queensland first, it's nice to be able to have that option for people around the country after these accolades that we get, to be able to say, hey, you want the beer, you can go get it at your local Dan's. Speaking of accolades, podium finish for Larry in the 2021 Gab's Hottest 100. So
number 3,
unbelievable. Like, that's just a testament to the community of support that we've got behind us. It's voted by the public. It's not an award that's done by beer judges. It's voted by you guys, and to get us up there on the podium means that there's people out there who love our beer, and that nothing makes us more proud.
I was, again, cried by myself because I had COVID drinking. But yeah, over 750,000 litres last year. And even off the back of December, and that, it was a hard period last year, probably harder than the previous year with COVID, to be honest. Talking to a lot of businesses, it was just tough. And that's just, the economy and people tightening up. But getting ready for the year that is, and 2022-23 is looking to be an absolute cracker, which is the fourth year of our business.
Yeah, cool.
We might have, yes. So we might have skipped. Sorry. But the biggest thing for us in maturing as a business, and obviously as the founders and directors of the business, our philosophy when we started was brew beer, sell beer. Pretty simple business strategy. But but obviously evolving throughout this period, and now having over 40 full-time staff, and really looking to plan not just in the next 12 months, but what does the next 5 years look like for your mates? What does the next 10 years look like? We were actively searching for mentors for a couple of years. I was putting the feelers out there, and we had a few chats with a few people, and we just couldn't find someone who had been in that manufacturing space, but also who had grown a brand and I guess a community brand in this field. So we're very fortunate enough to get introduced to a bloke named Peter Curry. When you read our crowdfund document, he's a bloke who has a surfing tile, but he's the ex-CEO of Gourmet Garden. He helped grow that business from 20 million to 100 million for an exit, and legend of a bloke. So very switched on. If you're manufacturing herbs or boots or, caravans, it's all the same principles. So he's really been able to come in at a monthly level and help us address some issues, but more, I guess, just to sanity check us. We set some pretty high expectations sometimes. So he provides us with a lot of I guess just sense checking our plans.
Yeah, it's insights and like accountability from someone who's done it before. And like we acknowledged before, we've got a leadership team now in place that has some excellent experience coming from some really big companies in Australia who've seen where we're going already and can identify the challenges before they happen. And the same thing from a kind of CEO perspective, founder perspective with Sid, who then introduced us to a friend of his called Ben Summons.
Yes. Yeah, Ben. So Ben was, if you don't know Ben Summons, he was the ex-CEO of Stonerwood. Absolute legend of a bloke. And we had a phone chat, and he's got a business called
Purpose and Flow.
So it's for kind of high achieving CEOs and high level management to kind of figure out their vision in their business, but has obviously, just been a massive asset for us, not just in the business strategy perspective, but just also in personally where we're going. What does good look like for me? What does good look like for Christian? What does good look like for us? What does good look like for our employees? And we went on a journey with Ben. And it was an incredible one. Again, Christian and I we're very, very similar in our principles and our ethics, morals in life, but two very different people at the same time. And yeah, in all honesty, we needed to make sure that if we're going to grow this business to where we think it's going to be, we knew each other just as well as we knew ourselves, and knowing yourself even more. So this is my purpose statement and my vision statement. I have this on my wall that I glance at nearly every day. And in the end, it's fostering mateship and living my full life and inspiring that to other people. That fits so well with me and my main. I just love talking to people. I like drinking beer and I like talking to people. So I don't get to do it as much as I probably would love or would like. COVID definitely hampered that. I did just do a big trip around Queensland, and she had 3,000 schooners. So I made a lot of mates along that journey. But yeah, this is what we came up with, just the first step of this this project with Ben.
Cool. And I developed a purpose statement of through determination, optimism, and creativity, show others how they can navigate any challenges. I like to lovingly joke that Hep's the problem maker, and I'm the problem solver.
Yes, I did not.
Yeah, a perfect example. We've got
just going back onto that, and we're obviously not going to share what we developed with Ben, but yeah, he helped what looks good like, what good looks like for your mates, a vision for your mates, and again, just some main principles on the left, the beer portfolio, what does our scale look like, our financials, our footprint, our customers, our people, capability, and community.
some measurements to align with those things. So we're tracking how well we're going with those goals.
Which leads into our pillars. So again, we actually developed the three main pillars back in 2015, drinking good beers, sharing them with good mates and having a good time. The fourth pillar, good business, came in 2018 when we employed 23 people to start a business, and we wanted to make sure that we were a good business. You know.
Yeah, we don't want to be we don't want to just be a big business. We want to be a good business. We don't want to do growth at all costs. We want to grow, but we want to do it sustainability with a team that's going to be with us for the long haul, and really not make any sacrifices. A
business we're proud of, something we can walk into every day because that's what we do, and be really proud about what we're walking into. So that's our four founding pillars. And our vision and mission. Again, this is off the back of Christian and I's purpose and vision, is to inspire mateship through our communities that we touch, living through our pillars, drinking good beers, being good mates, sharing good times, and being a good business. It's broad, but it says everything that we want to be doing with your mates.
And our mission is simple: to introduce every beer drinker in Australia to our mates.
Sounds easy. There's a lot of bloody beer drinkers out there that I've found out, but it's a big mission. Marketing, I mean, if you're new to Your Mates and you've just followed our socials, have a look through it. But again, we live and breathe it. We're not bloody actors. I remember talking to a VC, and we were right in the early days at the basement, having a chat with this real wealthy bloke. So, I said, this is the valuation. He said, well, I'm just going to buy my own brewery and hire my own sales team and my own marketing team, and I'm going to be your competition. I said, yeah, have a crack, mate. We'll see how you go. And he didn't start one up. But again, our biggest, the biggest point of difference, and we knew this in the early days, is we're real. This is a real story. It has real meaning. We're real people. We live and breathe it. We're engaged. To introduce beers to every beer drinker in Australia, we are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like there's breweries out there that just throw up a photo of like we're looking at here, a 4-wheel drive on the beach. But we're actually driving the 4-wheel drive. We're actually up on the beach. We're actually living the mantra that we are sharing. There's nothing fake about Your Mates. And that's something we're really proud of, and something that's really important to us, that if we say we're going to do something, we actually do it.
Good times, living the good times pillar. We'll keep going.
So past financials, like we've said in the crowdfunding video, and so far in this presentation, the growth has been steep. So on average, it's been 140% year on year. And we've hit a revenue of $7.1 million last year, which is just an achievement that we're super proud of. Financial year 2022 was one of the hardest ones I think that we've ever encountered, but we managed it with 25% growth in revenue, positive cash flow. And over the last 3 years, we've earned over $1.1 million in EBITDA. We do have some big depreciation schedules with the heavy capital investment that we've been making, and we've got a really good relationship with the Commonwealth Bank as well, who's helped us with funding that growth through asset finance. But we do have some real clear targets on how dependent we do want to be on debt financing, and it in theory it takes away your independence if you are dependent on the bank. We've also used the tap room to self-fund a lot of this working capital as well. So every time we have to grow our inventory. That's raw materials, work in progress, finished goods that are sitting in the cold room, as well as the beer that it can take up to 45 days for our accounts to get paid. So we've funded all of that growth to be able to double in size every year. We've done it by ourselves. Volume trend line for the last 3 years, which really shows how spectacular our flagship beer Larry is in our portfolio. So we've doubled in size almost each year, and then of that full volume of that 768,000 litres, 74% of that is one SKU. So that's one our one and only Larry, which is just an amazing feat.
And I think something just to add into that is the opportunity to grow other SKUs is definitely present, but our biggest issue is not having capacity. We still had to contract brew last year at Christmas time, which again went against all of our brewers' grain to have someone else brew our beer. But again, just to keep up with supply of Larry, yet alone looking into our other SKUs, it's just one of those business decisions that we decided to make at the time.
Yeah, we've always, again, the demand from Larry keeps growing. We know it's a product that works, and we continue to believe in our mate Larry. And so one day it'll be great to diversify our push and push other products a little bit more. And once we have the capacity to push something and then not run out of it, which is one of our philosophies that we've had from the start, is we don't want to be a brewery that has a product available one month and then not available the next month. We have a hierarchy here, and it's Larry kegs at the top, Larry cartons right underneath that. And it's our philosophy that we do not run out of those products ever.
And I think, again, look, even at core range, if you've been in the tap room, you've hopefully tasted our other beers on tap, and hopefully one day we get to broaden their horizons as well. We've had some pretty tasty mates brewed in the past, especially I really do love Barry, our barrel-aged Imperial Stout.
Yes, you do love Barry, the 12% barrel-aged Imperial Stout.
He's a bloody good bloke. There's plans in the pipeline to bring him back.
Yeah, and more limited release beers as well, which keeps our brewers engaged. It keeps those people in our community who really enjoy how far we can push beer and what we can call beer. And we love to enjoy ourselves around that.
Sammy won't be coming back though.
Oh, Sammy's the classic.
So
year to date revenue. It's been an absolute, like I was saying,
it's been a cracker.
Like I was saying before, FY22 was one of the hardest years that we've experienced with all of the mandates and lockdowns and the lack of the support that we just didn't have as compared to the prior COVID years. But this year, $860,000 we've earned in revenue in September, which is the biggest month we've ever had.
What did we do in December last year?
December last year was less than 800,000. So Christmas of last year we've exceeded in September of this year, which puts us on track to have an amazing result at the end of this financial year. We're super, super excited to see what's going to come over the next few months.
Definitely. We've got a few surprises that we'll be announcing.
Business strategy.
That's it. Everyone take a screenshot. We've got, 5 clear goals for us over the next 12 months. Again, number one, increase capacity. It's been absolutely critical. Again, when we first moved into this shed, 1,100 square meters was massive. We've been renting a shed across the road for 18 months. And when this site came online, and if anyone has seen it, they just know, this is amazing. It's a
once in a business lifetime opportunity, I call it.
I was actively looking for about 12 months for our next site, and we were looking at other places on the Sunshine Coast, other places down south in Brisbane, where that production facility is going to be. And I called McGarry up at 7:00 at night, which I never do. I think I don't know, something seriously was wrong, and I saw this site pop up, and it's just, we've said it before. We said it in passing. If this ever did come up, we'd have to jump on it, and that we did.
Yeah, there's too many advantages to having the expansion site next door to our original site to list. Just the logistics of it alone. We've taken down the fence between the two. We're forklifting between the two. It's the perfect site for us. We are absolutely blessed.
And you'll never get rid of me, mate.
Oh yeah, I was going to have another side all to myself. But yeah, that's our next focus with this stage 1 expansion, is to increase our production output to 2 million litres per annum, to take advantage and to satisfy the demand that we've got in the short term.
And yeah, that demand's coming from Queensland. We've still got a lot of opportunity here in our own backyard. Plenty of bottle shops that we haven't been able to supply to. So heaps of distribution points for Queensland still. We've just onboarded and upgraded our sales team. So we've doubled our sales team in the last 3 months with the anticipation of just being able to handle the volume. Again, off the back of an amazing quarter, or safe to say, the ball's in the production team's court again, which I do really enjoy.
Bring it on.
But not only just supplying Larry, which is obviously, you don't have to look at our business strategy to know that's our main priority. But again, looking at those other products, our other SKUs, and really seeing what we can do with those in our backyard, yet alone other states. There's been a lot of interest from other states, and I really do. We would love to go down there at some stage and do an official launch. We've kind of just been dipping our toes really, really infrequently down there, but it's just, sorry, but Queensland, we've got to look after our backyard first. So
yeah, we want to saturate Queensland first, and then when we do go down to New South Wales and Victoria, we want to have some sort of scale to do it, instead of just sending small volumes at high distribution costs. We want to attack it on all fronts and give it the attention that it deserves.
And I think another really big part of this strategy is other brew pubs. I just love the publican lifestyle, and we onboarded one of our investors. He's also a good mate of ours who's looking after the retail ops. He stepped out of his own business to really focus on this because he froths it just as much as we do. So he's been onboarded to replicate the amazing environment and atmosphere that we've created here in Wurundjeri and duplicate that across Queensland. We are obviously looking at other sites, but we're not, multinational corporate juggernauts that have huge teams. We've got to take one board at a time. And we'll be doing that very, very soon, again, with some exciting news to announce.
Cool. We're confident that we have the team with the investments into equipment that we're making. We're not going to have to grow our labor force much more to be able to hit that 2 million, that next goal we have of 2 million litres per annum, by using the efficiency of the equipment they're investing in, and getting everyone to their fullest capability, which is really exciting. We've got an excellent team. The retention here is incredible. We really, really, really do put a lot of energy and effort into company and team culture here, and we've just got an amazing team here, and we're really excited to take them to the next level.
Yes, definitely. They are the heart and soul of our business.
This is Sid Curry and Ben Summers, we were talking about before. We might just move on with time, that we're taking a lot longer than 20 minutes here. This is the layout of the final vision that we have for our new site. So we've got a new brew house that we'll get eventually, fermenters, packaging line, cold room. We've got brilliant double access for our trucks to come in and out of, as well as an increased area of parking for.
Do you just want to talk about what we've got now? like literally what we've got in our shed now, producing and using.
Yes.
Oh, next slide.
The
Oh,
next
here we
slide.
go.
So this is the current
Didn't see this
process. So this is what we've been working on over the past month, basically. All the hard stand kind of plumbing and flooring and pipe work and electrical stuff we've been doing since we took over the lease in June. And basically at the start of September, all of that was ready to go for us to move our existing packaging and fermenting and packaging tanks from 41 technology across to our new site here. We're bloody it's been it's been actually really impressive to watch and to be a part of that move. We've not had the ability to take as long as we wanted to. We literally shut down the packaging line on a Friday, moved it on Friday afternoon, and we were packaging on the Tuesday the next week. So we've had no room for downtime with the tight schedule that we've got. We just did the biggest month we've ever done in September, as well as moved all of our equipment over, and it's up and running, and the team is absolutely frothing on it.
Yeah,
So
there's definitely electricity in the air. I don't know how to brew beer, but I'm always poking my head around and walking through this area because it's just amazing. It's amazing to have a high quality setup and a purpose built production facility, because we built 41 Tech. We didn't plan that out. We chuck a cold room there and that'll be big enough. And it was a bit of a jigsaw.
Yeah, we learned a lot, and in the design and development of this site here, along with Rob Gargan, my production manager, who's come from the Australian Beer Company, which is one of the biggest breweries sites in Australia. We've been able to really design this for the future and make sure that everything that we're putting in there right now is not only going to work now, but it's going to work in 5 and 10 years. So we're really, really excited about the flexibility and the workflow, and giving everyone in the team adequate resources. So a couple of big investments that we've made that are really going to be game changers for us. We managed to secure a new can filler and seamer, which is 2.5 times the speed of our current can filler, as well as we've got some new fermenters that are being manufactured by DME, American company, but they're being manufactured over in China at the moment, which we'll receive hopefully before the end of this year to help us get through the Chrissy rush. But that's essentially that's what you're looking at right there. With a few more tanks is going to take us to 2 million liters, and then we can expand past that once we get there. Which brings us to the capital plan. So should we get the maximum subscription, we've got $600,000 allocated to site 2 fit out. So plumbing, pipe work, electrical, flooring, trade waste, which we're treating all of our water before it goes back into the sewer. We've got brewing assets, which include tanks, quality equipment, canning line equipment, depalletizer for our team. We've got brew pub fit out for a new brew pub, a pilot batch kit. We're looking at a 200 litre pilot batch kit so that we can do some really forward thinking beer styles that we can really kind of experiment and have a lot more fun with at that smaller volume. A new event rig and some sales and marketing assets, some working capital. We want to, like I was talking about before, reduce some of that debt and liability. And then we've got the costs from the Birchal for the facilitating the crowdfund.
Rewards. I think a lot of questions about the rewards. So again,
this is the one you screenshot.
But yeah, there's discounts at the brew pub for anyone who lives in a further radius than the locals on the sunny coast. There is obviously a discount for our online store as well. It's pretty basic. And you get an intro pack. We're going to have an absolute rip skitter of a party every year for all of our investors, and you'll get exclusive access to the
annual mateship day, which we're really looking forward to being able to basically run a nice open day for you guys to come along, and we'll tell you all the things that have been happening throughout the year, and really celebrate the business together with you guys. Yeah, we're so excited to bring on this community into the business, and yeah, really solidify and make permanent that relationship that we've already got with you guys. So yeah, we're absolutely frothing out.
And I think that's a question. Like we've had people hit us up, VC funds to fund the whole 2.5 million. People ask why are we crowdfunding, and that it all honestly is we want people to come on board. I've got good mates who are kicking themselves that they didn't get in on the first round. And it is this business was built on mateship, not just our mateship, but plenty of mates have helped us along the way. So I'm trying to go through the 3,500 plus people and highlight the people who I know need to be an investor, because it's overwhelming. I think there may be some people who miss out. So, but again, an amazing opportunity that we can again foster the people who froth on our vision and our principles and want to be part of the community. You know, we just did a big beach cleanup on the weekend. I'd love it if we had another 100 people up there to help clean the rubbish up there. You know, we do the planting festival every year. Come plant some trees. We put some beers on. So I think that's what people were really excited about, is to not just see it on social media, but just help live and breathe those mateship morals. And that's why we decided to open it up as a crowd fund.
So just a quick summary of some of the shareholder rights up on the screen at the moment. So all of the shares that will be offered will be ordinary shares. That's the only type of share that we have in the business. We've converted the founder shares that Matt and I had in preparation for this crowdfunder. We've also retired the existing shareholders agreement and terminated that, and we now just have one constitution that covers all of the shareholder rights, which will be available on the Birchal site when the offer goes live. Voting rights will be a 1 vote per shareholder on a show of hands, and on a poll it'll be 1 vote for each share held. With the dividends, that all shareholders will have a right to receive any dividends decided and paid by the company. The directors will have a discretion and may resolve to pay dividends subject to their obligations under the Corporations Act. Basically, if the paying of those dividends is going to stop us from paying our bills, then we won't be doing that. But we definitely have a plan to pay dividends one day, certainly. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that answered a few of your questions already. But yeah, we're looking forward to hearing directly from you and what you guys would like to know. So we'll pass it back over to Robin, who can grill us.
No, fantastic presentation, guys. And look, yeah, I think the thing for me is I love how much you live and breathe your philosophy. You're not doing it just for the gram that a lot of other people or businesses might be doing, and you really live and breathe everything you do. So for everybody here, apologies if we go over a little bit. We're more than happy to spend a little bit more time to make sure that your questions are answered. But just know that if you do have to go, we are recording this session. So if you want to ask a question, but you do have to run, fear not, we will send you the recording. But this is the perfect opportunity to answer all of your questions. So we do have a few that are in the Q&A format, and I've already answered a few for those of you who have asked us some which were more Birchal related. So just starting from the top, Will, thanks very much for your question. Will there be a copy of the financials in the prospectus? So just so you know, under the CSF regime, you actually produce what is called an offer document. It's like a prospectus, but it's not got the same level of requirement or disclosure in there. Keen to know the debt to equity ratio and the breakdown of the income and expenses. You'll have a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement, and a changes in equity statement in the offer document itself. Did you want to add anything else to that question, guys?
No, that'll all be in there. We're pretty much putting the final touches on that right now. So yeah, that'll be part of the offer document.
Awesome. And a really important question: why isn't Sammy coming back?
Hey, who knows? I can't say. It's a very polarizing beer, I think. I hate salt and vinegar chips. So, yeah, I shouldn't say that because we do have a couple of brewers in here who just they'd put that on their bloody
Broth on it. They
wheat bix if
love
they
it.
could, I reckon.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't have said
most,
that. He will
our
return
most
one day.
polarizing beer to date. It is
Yes, that was what Gab's year was that.
Yeah.
I don't even. Some
2019.
They're all
I
a
think.
blur.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a real fun beer to brew, and we love doing those types of beers and kind of really pushing the envelope. You know, it is our bread and butter to drink, to drink, as well as drinking, to brew beers that are full of flavor that are also easy to drink. It's kind of our philosophy that we always started the business doing. Now, something like Sammy may not be so easy to drink, but it is very full of flavor. But with our core range, that's always the first little tick that we like to give to something. Make it exciting, but make it easy drinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say the Larry is incredibly easy to drink. Awesome beer. Great work, guys.
Thanks, mate.
So Brad here has asked a question around sales appear to be predominantly based on the Sunshine Coast at present, though Your Mates is stocked by major retailers. So what volume of sales do you currently have in other parts of Queensland?
From a percentage perspective,
Yeah, so
it's sorry, I wouldn't have the exact number on me right now, but it would be about 30% of our sales on the Sunshine Coast here. So it's a good part of our volume is outside of the Sunshine Coast. Yeah, it's hard for us to break up the volume that goes into the nationals. They charge $25,000 a year to see the pull-through data for BWS and Dan Murphy's. We just see 10 pallets, 12 pallets going down to the distribution center. But our calculations are around that 30 to 40% of our volume on the Sunshine Coast. So yeah, there's still a lot of volume outside the coast and lots more potential volume outside there. We saw a real spike in the volume up north after Pep did his trip up there. Some really amazing pubs and iconic pubs up there becoming some of our highest volume venues up in the tip of Australia. So yeah, it's being very well received, not just on the Sunshine Coast, but outside of the coast as well.
And we're in key ranging now. So key ranging is a massive achievement. We're in Liquor Legends, Bottle Mart, Celebrations, Thirsty Camel, Bottle Low, and Bottler. So that's all and Star Liquor now. So major independents, which those volumes will be coming online over, if not in the last 3 months, in the coming months. Obviously to get a new SKU into those bottle shops takes a little bit of massaging, but key ranging is from the top. And again, with more capacity coming online, we were able to take on that opportunity. So again, I would argue, yes, Sunshine Coast, there's a large portion of our sales, but it's definitely expanding across Queensland.
Yeah, awesome. And the next question really perfectly develops on that, and you've already touched on it, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about sales outside of Queensland, because Brett here has asked what your percentage of sales are in Queensland versus other states. So now's the perfect opportunity to really talk about your growth plan outside of Queensland.
Do you know percentage-wise on that?
Well, our target is that it shouldn't go over 20% at the moment. It's definitely under 20%.
Well,
currently.
Under 20%.
But it is, again, like when we talk about strategy or interstate, like I mentioned previously in the presentation, it's not until we're ready. One of the biggest costs involved in as we expand is distribution, and if we're not sending good volumes through our distributors, then we're just losing money to send beer down. The demand through those accolades we've got from the hottest 100s put us on the map, and we're still saying no to opportunities down south because we're committed to servicing our backyard first.
And that it stems from our first philosophy of when we started, having no experience, we needed to saturate the Sunshine Coast first. That goes, well, now, why would we sell beer down in over across WA if we can't
at the expense.
at the expense of thirsty Queenslanders, the biggest beer drinkers in Australia, and one of the lowest for craft beer. We are thirsty. We love a good beer, and I'd argue that a lot of people haven't been exposed to that yet. They're still drinking the old macro beers. So big opportunity in Queensland. That was the basis of my trip, to find out how thirsty they were, and they bloody are.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect segue into Jeremy's question here, which is really actually asking about the typical beer drinker, and saying that a lot of beer drinkers out there are swayed by price. And so with an increase in production, do you see your units going down to potentially sway more of those customers to Your Mates beers?
I think we'll always should have a premium product. We're still a small business. We're an independent craft brewery, and playing in that space, it's a price war. We don't want to get involved in that. We're never going to be able to compete against the bigger guys. We won't be able to compete against the Lions and the Carltons. It's just nothing. We're not interested in that. We're a premium product.
We don't want to be involved in that race to the bottom. We want to make sure that, and again, when the demand is more than the supply, where there's no point in sacrificing profit to run out of beer. We're hoping that with economies of scale, we'll be able to review our prices and line them up with the market, and make the right decisions at the time, and increase our profitability at the end of the day.
Increasing profitability, not decreasing price. That's what 101 business. Let's make more money to reinvest.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as it's a fair price for the consumer, based on what the market dictates at the time. It's all of our, we've done the first increase in price actually this year that we've ever done, which is something that's happened across the market in not only beer industry but all industries. The cost of goods they're growing. Power's going up, fuel's going up, and we've been pretty dedicated to keeping our prices steady over the period of the growth of the business, because we always knew that the economies of scale would afford us. We make our price competitive, and then we get the economies of scale as we grow to justify that. Maybe going in a little bit, if we're always just like, we have to put this margin on it and sell it at this, maybe we're not gonna get those sales like the question asked. There are a lot of people who are drinkers. There are a lot of people who are price concerned.
But we are looking, I guess, to tail onto that. We are looking at a cheaper carton price product, but again, until we can satisfy the demand and the supply of Larry, we won't be able to launch any new products in the near future anyway.
Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. And Tamsin, thanks for your question. Basically asking what the minimum investment buy-in will be for every individual investor.
$250.
Fantastic.
What can you buy for that? I don't even know. Not much.
Nothing.
You can buy some shares in Your Mates.
Exactly. That's it. And Phil, thanks very much for your question. Guys, great breeze, so genuine, love it. Can't help but draw comparisons to Stone and Wood. What is the longer term plan, and is there a plan to sell?
We get asked that question a lot. First one was in the VC pitch. What's your exit strategy? And the answer was, we didn't have a bloody exit strategy because we didn't have a brewery.
Well, at that stage, we didn't even know what an exit strategy was.
I told you guys this question would come up, though.
We still don't know what it is.
But we were lucky to get some, and I hold on to this advice very dearly, to have an hour with Steve and Glenn Richards after Shark Tank about 6 months later, and we showed them our final investor presentation, and the first half an hour, and they went through it, and they said, "Don't discount it, boys. Go hard. This is a good opportunity." And my first question to Steve after that was, "Steve, when do you know when to exit?" And he said, "Mate, I've built a lot of businesses and I've sold a lot of businesses. What are you going to do? What would you do? Let's say you exit. What would you do with $20 million?" And I said, okay, I'd buy a house and a car. I didn't have those things at the time. I'd buy a boat. I'd buy a holiday house in Indonesia. And he said, yeah, you'd probably buy a yacht. What else? And I'd never thought about that. You know, what else do you do? And I said, I'll start another business. He said, exactly. You start another business. You put all your seed money in. You're risking, you know, besides your nest egg, everything. You're going to be grinding. You've got new staff. You're going hard. Meanwhile, the business you sold, you know, it's probably grown by 15 to 20% a year comfortably. Said, if it's something like insurance, yeah, bloody sell it. You know, that shit's boring. But if it's something you love, why would you sell? And that has really, really stuck with us because we didn't have an answer before going into those VCs. And now it's really solidified that we want this to be a long-term business. No one knows what's going to happen down the track. You know, we want to build this up to be something we're proud of and something that's profitable. You know, we didn't sacrifice. It's been nearly 10 years since we started this business venture.
Yeah.
Or did not start this to be, you know, for the passion and to not make money. We want this to be profitable and we want this to be a growing business.
The business that we're building is not a business that's just going to hang its hat on. Hopefully one day one of the bigger breweries is going to come knocking on the door and offer us a big sum to buy it. We're going to create a profitable business where we can share the dividends with the shareholders, and basically, enjoy that without having to sell out.
It's crazy to think that people, oh yeah, I want to, you know, can I talk to you? I want to open a brewery, and you know, other existing breweries, we're going to be like Stonerwood. No, you bloody. When I said that to Ben, someone's asked, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be the best craft brewery, independent craft brewery in Queensland. And he started clapping his fingers. He said, thank fuck you didn't say you wanted to be like Stonerwood, because no one's going to be like Stonerwood. That was their OGs. They're, you know, 15 years ago. We're on our own path and we're on our own mission. And I think it's silly to say that you're going to get bought out one day, because that's not reality. You know, you can't just put all your eggs in that basket. We're not doing that. We're setting this up to be a success in our own eyes and run our own business and our own vision.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Like Matt said before, we can't predict the future. And again, we'll make that decision when we do need to, and considering all the different factors that will be involved in that decision. I think we've created an amazing business that would appeal to someone one day to do something like that. So we'll see what happens there.
Fantastic, guys. Just conscious, we've got 19 questions open, and I really appreciate all the questions coming through. So we'll do our very best to try and get through these. Guys,
we need to send Robin some more beers so he can hang out for a bit longer.
I love the
Where do you live, Robin?
I'm going to set some timers on your responses.
No, okay, sorry,
not at all. I'm really going to try and
feel free. We're wafflers. We're wafflers, and we know that. That's okay.
Andrew, thank you so much for your question, asking what is the current share value of his existing shares. So you know there's going to be a changes in equity statement and a capital structure statement in the offer document. So that will essentially break down the shares and the value of all those shares which exist in the business, and then effectively where the equity crowdfunding shares exist in place for that. So by way of us not really sort of talking through and giving you those details on this call, which of course we're not going to do complete justice for, that information will be available in the offer document.
I think just historically, pre-money val when we raised was $3 million. And we had bugger all on the scorecards. Yeah. We had an internal sale. When was that? 2 years ago. To another investor. One of our investors had some really horrific health issues, so sold a portion of his shares, and we were at arm's length. The business was valued at $30 million. So another investor bought those shares. So that's kind of the historicals. Christian and I are doing some work in the background with Robin to firm that valuation up, and it will be presented in the offer document.
Fantastic. Ian, thanks very much for your question. What sustainability, climate change initiatives are you planning with the new builds?
We've got we've already got solar, 100 kilowatt solar system on our existing roof at 41 Technology Drive. We'd like to replicate that here at 43 Technology Drive. We've already got a waste treatment system that's balancing what we're putting back into the sewer, and we were also looking into CO2 recovery. It's not only something that is an amazing way that we can reduce our impact on the environment by not getting fresh CO2 delivered to us, and we're producing CO2 in the brewing process, which does unfortunately go out into the elements at the moment. And if we could recover that, it's going to save us money, as if anyone's following the news, the CO2 shortage is happening across the globe and the prices are going up. So it's going to be able to help tick both boxes for us.
Don't forget the little compost farm. We've got heaps of initiatives. We reuse all of our grain bags. There's plenty of things going on. We don't have straws.
That's one thing is we're looking forward to. We don't have a malt silo yet, so we're all of our brewers. Not only are they looking forward to they're back being a little bit more looked after, not having to pick up the 25 kilogram bags, but we go through like 200 25 kilogram malt bags every week, and we're going to be able to get rid of those and just put that straight into our malt silo, so no bags will be involved. Although we just come off a beach cleanup weekend up at Double Island, which is our one of the most special places that locally to our hearts, and we spent the weekend with some of our team cleaning up the beach using those malt bags, and as well giving beers to the other people who are up there on the cleanup weekend as well. So
sustainability pays.
Free beers.
Fantastic. Dan, thank you very much for your question here. Basically, essentially asking, what is the forecasted timeline before dividends are expected to be paid, and also the return based on the forecast that at that time in the future? Really hard question to be able to actually give you a meaningful answer on, because there are so many uncertainties about how the business is going to grow. But I think really fundamentally, before I throw over to the guys to answer this one, I really want to reflect that the guys are raising funds to be able to scale up the business. And effectively, that is what these funds are going to be used for. And what the future looks like, the guys have already really answered that in terms of what their vision and philosophy is for the business in the future and where they're going to go, and considering all factors at play. And I think you guys are absolutely going to be looking after and trying to take care of the needs of the investors as much as yourselves as well. So, yeah.
Well, we are the two biggest investors, so I think dividends would be great, 100%. But like Robin said, this is a capital raise for growth. We're a high growth business. We need to invest that capital into growth to satisfy the vision. And if you're looking for a short-term dividend, I'd probably say not the right business to be invested in. This is a long-term business play, but again, we do definitely plan to look at dividend payments down the track.
Oh yeah, we're dedicated to we can't commit to a timeline on it, but we are committed to being dedicated to having a pathway towards getting dividends to us and all of the first round investors, and also ultimately you guys.
Our friends and family, they've made the same investment, and they've actually never asked that question, which is I'm very surprised at, but they have absolute faith in us to control this business and point in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew we were going to have a few questions around this area, and Matthew here has asked the question, will the shares be liquid to some extent, and will there be any access to what the shares are worth at any one point in time? One thing I'd love to highlight in this regard is that with this share registry provider, you will be able to kind of receive updates on the business and how that's tracking. The guys will provide you with updates on essentially business updates within the business itself, and you will be notified if there are any material changes to the business in the future. But the liquid aspect is harder to really call out, because there are a number of aspects in which the shares can become liquid. But for the time being, when you're purchasing the shares, it's safer to assume that they are liquid, so that you won't be able to sell them immediately. And effectively, that's really, in the interests of the business to be able to try and provide in the future.
Yeah. Agree with that, Robin.
Awesome. Chris here has asked the question: are the brewpub sales on the revenue side based on food and beverage revenue in the pub itself, or including merchandise or other revenue?
Interesting, detailed question. We have, yes, merchandise is included in food and beverage. Also is takeaways, and we do have a online business, e-commerce, which is separate to that that revenue number. And again, that is included. Definitely, that's it. That's our operation, and that's what we'll be looking to expand.
But another opportunity, the online store that we think we haven't really even scratched the surface of, and merchandise. Our focus is always on keeping up with demand, and sometimes our merchandise and e-commerce doesn't get the attention that it deserves. But
if you've got a Your Mates yellow esky, I think you've got to say it's the best bloody esky going around.
Well, you know, we
ice for so long.
We just for anecdotally, we use a merchandise supplier, Thirsty Merchants, who do all of the merchandise for, you know, all of the small breweries here in Southeast Queensland. And our Black Your Mates t-shirt is like one of their if not the highest. It's grossing product they do. So I won't get Kev involved, but yes, we are a very good customer of Thirsty Merchants, and awesome. We see a lot of future prosperity in that department.
Fantastic. Damien, I love your question. Are there opportunities for investors to learn about brewing and joining the team?
Ooh, you want an apprenticeship? What about fishing? What about fishing and surfing? No, kidding. Good question.
It's a good question. It's something that we haven't had a chance to really look at.
I haven't even learned how to brew beer yet.
I'll be looking for investors first, guys. First. I mean, we have, depending on how local you are, we have people that do already come in here and volunteer on the packaging line. It's always an area of the business that we need extra hands. Matt's dad was one of the first of the pack 'em out crew, we call them. Usually they're retirees who come in and work for beer and help us put 4-packs into boxes, or to put barcode stickers onto 4-packs and things like that. They get to learn about the brewing process and how it's packaged, which is arguably one of the most interesting parts of brewing.
They used to be called the Pack 'em Out Boys, but then my mum joined up, so now they're the Pack 'em Out crew, and then all of her friends joined up. So
hell yeah.
But it's great. It's good to have people interested in the process, and I don't think we would guarantee that you're going to come in and get to experience firsthand with McGarry how to brew beer, but
it's definitely something that we could investigate, and as we see how many people we do recruit in the investment round, and you know what we can do on those team days, on those open days. Lots of exciting stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. And Louise has asked where the second brew house will be located.
No solid answer there, but we've been. Can you turn that on?
It is, sorry.
We are looking actively around Southeast Queensland, mainly due to the massive staff shortage risk there is present in the whole of Australia. That's our biggest risk at the moment. We're very confident in opening up brew pubs and operating them to produce a really good profit margin. But for us, and I think arguably every food and beverage hospo business in Australia, staff is the biggest and hardest resource to find at the moment. So having something close by to us will definitely be a huge asset for our existing team. We can send them down there if anything catastrophic happens. So we'll be looking in a 2-hour radius and we have been actively looking down Gold Coast, Brisbane, here up the Sunshine Coast, and a little bit further north. But again, this equity crowdfund will really provide a good capital injection for that second brew pub site.
Yeah, awesome. Somebody's asked if Caloundra is local enough. I don't know. Yeah,
that's where we
the home.
That's where we
that's
started.
The OG.
There we go. There we go.
Drift Bar is still the original tap room, technically, really.
Yeah, awesome. We've got a couple of questions here, and I think we've already answered a few of them here, but from somebody who's just said, thanks very much for the webinar, and this is a great opportunity. With growth of the business, are you putting additional focus on the environmental side as well as efficiency, solar cells, sustainable packaging? I think you've answered that in a fair amount of detail. If you want to add anything to it, please feel free to do so.
I think that just leans on our pillar being a good business. You cannot achieve everything you envision to achieve in a year. We're obviously constantly trying to make changes. We've got a club called the Culture Club, so that's our staff. So they're actually, as you could probably imagine, Christian and I cannot make all the decisions in our business. So we team up with a lot of NFPs. We've Surf Rider, Reef Check here on the Sunshine Coast, and a lot in the mental health space. But we specifically team up with a number of sustainability charities and really trying to get their input. We've also really are active with the Board of Sustainability, Economic Sustainability on the Sunshine Coast.
Backtech.
Oh. You want that?
Yeah. You keep going.
And yes, we talk to Simone there all of the time. So again, plenty of big projects and plenty of big aspirations to really look after our backyard. If anyone has seen myself, I live and breathe in the ocean. So that's a huge one for us. Our coastline is literally the gemstone of I believe, Australia, and really want to try and be big advocates of protecting our beautiful backyard.
In terms of recent packaging material changes we've made with the rebrand of the Larry can, which is beginning to roll out, where we've kind of made the design of the can a bit more succinct and easily readable and understandable at the bottle shop window. We've also rolled out these new PackTech can carriers, Eco Grip. So we were getting the PackTech shipped over from America. It was the only real company that did that previously. And now we've moved to Eco Grip, which is a Australian local manufactured 4-pack holder, which is 100% recycled plastic. So none of that shipping carbon that would be produced through getting that stuff made in America. And it's the American stuff is actually unrecyclable here in Australia. So that's a big move towards sustainability from the packaging.
Awesome. Fantastic. And the second part of that question was really around sort of the being able to sell shares in the future. I think I'll just sort of cover the pillars and the areas in which you can sell shares in private companies. So the opportunities for liquidity are a company going public, so through an IPO, a share buyback scheme where sometimes some founders buy back shares in businesses. That is one opportunity. Or there's a trade sale of the business, in which case somebody comes in and the terms of the offer might mean that you actually get your shares purchased, or the company issues dividends. Now, these are the options to you. And I think it was great that you guys included the actual terms of the shares for ordinary shareholders with voting rights, because effectively what that would mean is that then you would go out and you would say, well, hang on a minute, we're looking to do this thing, and you have a voting right, so you can vote in accordance with how many shares you actually have, to say whether or not you agree with this strategy and this structure. And that would kind of allow people the opportunity to actually sell. It's really hard to be able to pinpoint any kind of timeline on this, as I know you've asked, but hopefully the offer document will provide so much insight into the strategy and the future of the business, that you can really start to paint a picture of where the business is going, and what that might look like for you in the future. But I'd always like to just end that sort of conversation with saying, it's best to expect that this is a longer term investment rather than a short term investment. Like you said, Matt, if you're sort of investing to try and get dividends quickly, this is probably not the right investment for you. But it's really very much so the future plans of the business. You're investing into a private business, and the hope is that the business is able to use that capital and grow significantly more, and continue to scale into the future. So
Thanks, Robert.
We'll cover that point. Awesome. Just moving down, and I love how everybody's upvoting the questions that they really want us to ask here. So Damien here has asked, do you feel that the Matsos brewery development in Umundi will affect the Tilly? Umundi will affect the Tilly sales locally?
Possibly, but we wouldn't. Tilly's not Tilly's saturated our local market. We've got huge plans for our ginger beer, and it's definitely not getting sidetracked with the Sunshine Coast volume. Yeah, we've got a lot bigger aspirations to, again, satisfy our Queensland market and beyond. So,
and in terms of the ginger beer market, it's a really, really different style of ginger beer than the Matsos ginger beer. That Matsos ginger beer is much spicier, doesn't have the kind of like sweetness that that Tilly has. Tilly really sits in that easy drinking realm, and I mean, if you want a bit of backstory about Tilly's, we never wanted to wholesale a ginger beer. We only produced the product just to have the offering in the tap room. As soon as it went on tap, though, the demand for it just went insane. It was something that I was never really kind of like, oh, let's do a ginger beer. But you just couldn't argue with how much love there was for this ginger beer, and Tilly was born, and she started going to events and just killing it. And it's one of those kind of things that we just went, this is fun, this is great product, and people are loving it.
Also, if anyone didn't know, Matsos is owned by the big. So if you want to support a local ginger beer, Tilly's your girl.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Dale has asked how long before the second shed is fully operational, i.e. the build time in being able to target your 200 million litres.
Dale, pop your head in, mate. It's going.
So we've essentially we've got 1 million litres of capacity right now. We've transferred that capacity from 41 technology over to 43 technology. So we've got all the infrastructure in place to support that 2 million litres. It's literally just now dropping in. So basically we've got the biggest tank size we've got currently is 10,000 litres. And we've got 3 of those, but we've got 4 20,000 litre fermenters that are almost finished manufacturing, I spoke about from DME in China, and that will essentially double our capacity to that 2 million litre mark, as well as the other bottleneck we had was the packaging line, but the investment into the packaging line that's we've gone from 40 cans a minute to 100 cans a minute, and to from an open air filling system, which is susceptible to oxygen pickup, to a counter pressure filling system, which is going to improve the shelf life of our beer as well. Super exciting improvements.
And that will take us to how many million litres?
So it'll take us to 2 million litres per annum.
And what can the packaging line do?
The packaging line will be capable of doing. It was doing well. We bought it secondhand. It was doing 4.5 million litres a year from the brewery we bought it off.
It's a workhorse.
So that packaging line now is going to be able to take us to that 4 to 5 million litre mark. And then once we get all of the extra fermenter capacity in there, the only thing that we'll need to do is upgrade the brewery and get more fermenters to get more capacity out of this site up to 5 million litres, and then we'll have to revisit the packaging line then.
But if you pop your head in, it's all happening. We're going to have a launch day on the 10th of December. 10th of December.
Which
book it out.
Yeah, which all the investors will be more than welcome. They'll be bloody invited, and
it'll be open for everyone. Though the other people just have to pay. So if you miss out, sorry.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome. That's awesome. Nathan's asked if Hervey Bay will be in your sights as a potential brew pub location. I feel like we've spent a lot of time on the next brew pub location. Everyone
wants it at the end of their street, don't they?
Yeah,
I do.
I do too.
He must be following my truck because I go up to Hervey Bay a bit. I fish Fraser Island a fair bit. Possibly, we'll never say no. It's 3 hours away, but I really do love Hervey Bay. But we're not going to make any promises, but yes, potentially.
Yeah, awesome. And Dan here said, do I need to be an investor to get your products introduced into my tap house? Love the product, fellas. I'm sure, Dan, you can reach out to the guys and they can tell you.
Yeah, definitely, Dan. I'll give you McGarry's email and personal home number. No, but if you're, definitely, mate. We'd love to have our products in there, unless it is in those other states.
Beer at yourmatesbrewing.com.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's get it in there.
Yeah, love to have a chat, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for the froth.
Hell yeah.
And again, 10th of December, we're at the moment, it's hard to walk into our own pub because everyone's like, hey, can't even have a beer at my own pub. It's electricity in the air around here at the moment. And we're absolutely stoked. The staff are frothing. Everyone's just really excited. Again, you can see we've opened up next door and everyone's kind of popping their head in. And it's a very exciting time for us and your mates.
I can imagine. And Brett here has asked a slightly different question, which is great. Is the marketing budget low due to not being able to fill demand? So effectively, are you just spending as many of your funds as possible to try and fill demand for Larry?
I'd love to show you the marketing budget because we've spent bugger all. We've never had, I reckon the max we spent on social media in a month is $1,000. Like absolutely bugger all. So that's a big opportunity for us to spend some money in one day when we can satisfy the demand.
This crowdfund is a perfect example. I mean, we were looking at spending how much?
10 grand to get the message out, and
we haven't had to do that because we've just been overwhelmed. And it's a question that we get asked again all the time. How do you do that? How do you
the gabs? Everyone's like, oh, you guys, how many emails have you created? And it's like, mate, there's no formula that we've done. We've literally just asked people to vote, and obviously we create the video ourselves. So we save a lot on marketing, and we have a good time doing it. And I think people can see through. Yeah, I think that we have fun with it, and I think that it's truthful, it's fun, and people can relate to it. And you can't pay for that. I don't believe anyway. It's just something that's we're very lucky. We're in a really lucky position that we can do the things that we love. We can do the things that we think are funny and engaging, and other people do as well. Arguably, we don't spend enough time doing that in our office a lot, but we're trying to celebrate the wins and really trying to spend some more time living and breathing this brand. And I really I think this is our year. We've not been to Biavana. We've not been at all of these festivals that we've dreamed about going to every year. We're like, we'll get there next year. We've just been too busy and under the pump. But again, we're definitely going to focus on once we get this supply, marketing, spending some time actually going out and shaking hands a bit more and getting the message out there. That's awesome. And I just wanted to cover, because I've seen a couple of questions on this and know that a few of you will have to drop off. We've had a question here. When are you able to dive in and join you lads on this journey? That will be Tuesday next week. But please make sure that you've expressed interest to invest, so you are on that email list, and we do actually send you an email with the early investor link so that you can be one of the first to view the offer document and go ahead and make that investment. So please do sign up to express interest to invest. As you're signed up and registered on this webinar, I will send you the link where you can do that.
And we've seen a couple of questions here as well asking, will you guys be doing a televised commercial?
We've done a lot of TV presentations.
They've been on the news a
never say
couple of
no.
times.
Never say no.
I don't
For
know.
what, for your mates or for another brand?
Again, we've kind of, our company's also, gone through its, growth phases in kind of alignment with the shift in the way that people digest media. Our business has grown up in the age of social media, and it's one of the most incredible tools for us to connect with our audience. I mean, anecdotally, when we were running the basement, we sponsored a footy tipping competition in the newspaper. Cost us a shitload more than any social media that we'd ever done. I still got no idea if anyone came into the basement because they saw the logo on the footy tipping competition of the Sunshine Coast Daily. But now the Sunshine Coast Daily does articles on us and won't let us read them because we haven't paid the subscription fee. So it's I mean, if we don't have to, we're not going to pay for an ad on TV. And arguably, I don't think that's the way that people are digesting their media and advertising and content in the future.
I saw an ad for budgie smugglers the other day, Australia's most average body, and I'm like, I reckon I could be in that commercial.
Oh yeah, modeling.
If you're looking for an actor, McGarry's up.
What you could do is you could go in on somebody else's ad and then just slyly, subtly bring in a Larry and then advertise your mates. Yeah, it's a great way to do it.
McGarry will get a Larry tattoo for that ad, and he'll strip his shirt off to promote your mates.
That's awesome. And somebody has actually asked, and it's been the most updated comment, so I have to ask it, is if they can hire the tap van call room.
No.
She's booked out with your mates events literally every weekend. That's one of our greatest investments.
I can't even book the bloody thing out.
Yeah, we can't even
we did go to the we did take it up the beach on the weekend though.
Yeah, our families like 40th or engagement parties or anything like that. It's like 6 months in advance. Is it going to be available? Yeah, but if
we're shockers. We put the business first before ourselves. So.
Always.
Yeah. But always. This investment, 50 grand of this is going to another event room as well. And just to satisfy, we do a lot of community events around, not only just on the sunny coast of Southeast Queensland, but the wider Queensland. So excuse me.
It gets us brand in hand. Exposure to like high volumes of people. Matt went down and did the Max Tracks opening of their store down in Brisbane.
Really well.
Like that getting our brand into not just a beer festival, but another type of event where we get in front of more people than we would normally get in front of, and once people see Larry, they taste Larry, they get your mates. We find that it just seems to work. It's just getting in front of them. That's the problem for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody here is, and the questions are actually flowing faster than we can answer them. So
everyone else has had a couple of Larrys now too.
Yeah, they really have. I'm certain of it. So looking at the rewards, will the discount at the brew pub be only usable on its own, or will we have another discount for another reason? I think reward on top of that. Yeah,
I think he already knows that question, mate. There's no discounts and discounts. You know the drill. It's on full price products. So we've actually never discounted beer in our life. So you guys will be the first people to have access to a beer discount. And I think that's a big privilege that we're willing to give away to part owners in the business.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. And Robert here has asked if your beer is pasteurized or unpasteurized for the future. Any plans for the international market?
It's unpasteurized currently. And I guess in the early days, we kind of really looked down at pasteurized beer is something that's the big brewers do, and it's bad for beer and it's evil. But the technology around pasteurization has come lengths and bounds in just that time frame, and especially since the craft beer market, who have more full flavored beers, have really kind of driven the innovation around pasteurization. And it's definitely something that we and from a kind of consistency and quality perspective, we'll be very open to looking at. But we definitely want to make sure that there's no impact or little impact on the flavor of the beer, because ultimately that's our driver, and that's our number one pillar is making beer that tastes good. And it's something that we are never going to compromise on.
And international market, we'll never say no, but again, really looking after our Australia first, Aussies,
and making sure that the beer, if it does travel, tastes just as good where it's consumed as it does here locally.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And you've had a question here from Mark. If you end up brewing an additional 2 million liters, do you expect that the keg can split will change retail distribution versus brew pubs?
Yeah, definitely. I think as we grow, the split between the kegs and cans will definitely go more towards the cans.
We've got a benchmark that we've set with Ben Summons that we want to be able to hit.
Just 70-30 split, so 70% cans.
I think it's 65-35.
Oh, okay. Have to check that alignment.
I checked it today. But that's, again, we want to have a big focus still on kegs. Again, we see we've always had really big volume in draft beer. We definitely still want to. I just like visiting pubs and talking to publicans.
Yeah, so, I mean, it takes a lot more work to get those taps, and especially to get those taps where it's not just one beer that they, or not just one keg that they purchase, but they keep that on one of the taps as a permanent rotation.
Right.
But ultimately, yeah, those opportunities in the fridge is always a little bit easier than the kegs. So yeah, we're always going to put a lot of effort into those taps and to keep those taps as well. In particular, the ones we've fought very hard for over the lifetime of our business. We were the first craft beer to go on tap at a surf club here on the Sunshine Coast, at the Kulin Beach Surf Club, which we're still on tap there at now. And those types of taps are just revolutionary with the way that you get exposed to a whole new audience of people that align with the business, but not necessarily would have seen the beer before.
Yeah, awesome. I'm just going through these and just making sure. We've got a couple of questions which I know are very conversational at this point with our Larry drinkers.
Where's the cheeky ones?
I'm going to try and see if we can get as much value out of this as possible. Glenn here asking a question around when this crowdfunding exercise is fully subscribed. Hopefully it will be. Will this sustain the current strategy of Your Mates for the foreseeable future, or will we see another crowdfunding round down the track?
It's a question that we've asked ourselves, and essentially we said at the start we don't want to have to raise again. In all honesty,
we've only raised once before, and even now to raise again has taken 5 years almost.
Yeah, with this second raise, we've let our shareholders know for the last 2 AGMs, this is what we're looking at. This is, and they've been part of that conversation. So if we do raise again, we'll communicate that, and we don't plan to. I don't think necessarily we will need to, but again, when opportunities come up, I heard a nice little quote the other day: temptation knocks on the door every day. Opportunities come up once every 3 to 5 years. So if an opportunity comes up that's too hard to pass, we will take it. And if we need to crowdfund again, we will have to have a good think about it.
Absolutely.
And just like we had to have a good think about going with this one as well. Like Matt said, it's something that since we saw crowdfunding come available on the market, it's something that we've definitely kept an eye on, and always thought that it'd be really well suited to us. But yeah, we wanted to make sure it was the right time, it was the right decision, and it was for the right reason. So yeah, it's the right time right now, and we're frothing. We're absolutely frothing to see where we go with this.
That's awesome. And I think really just closing out, you've got a question here asking what your favorite beer is that you've ever had. So we can both answer that and then close this session off.
Oh,
Gotta be a Larry.
he's not. He says Larry. He's not bloody. I drink a lot of Larry. Favorite beer though, I'd have to say the Nitro. When we put Barry on Nitro, it is absolutely delicious. I'm biased though because it's the beer that we brew. There's too many. There's honestly too many.
I agree.
Larry, but like we designed it selfishly before.
Favorite beer.
I'd say for us.
Favorite beer is the beer in your hand.
Ah, there he goes. So it should be in marketing.
Yeah, it should be marketing. Yeah. Get me off the bloody brew deck.
While you answer that, Matt, you'll have to give me 5 seconds because I've had too many Larrys. So literally, I'll let you answer that and I'll be back.
Larry is the beer that I learned how to brew developing the recipe for, so it's always going to be my favorite beer. But I've got a list of life-changing beers that in my journey I've tasted, and it's open, those kind of, and I'm sure that there's people here in the webinar who've done the same thing. You have an idea of what beer is in your head, and then you taste a beer and it just blows your mind and changes your perception of what beer is forever.
Remember the first beer club that we visited at Scratch Bar?
And it was Kaiju presenting hop forward beers, and it was like, again, it was a revelation. If anyone's ever heard of an American brewery called The Alchemist, there's a beer called Heady Topper, which I had 8 days old, 8 days since being packaged. That was brought over by Lee from White Lies Brewing down in Brisbane to a tasting that we did down at Four Hearts. And I'd never, ever tasted a beer with hops expressed in such an incredible way. It's one of those life-changing beers, and I live for those beers. I absolutely love making beer, and hopefully sometime in the process we might even make some life-changing beers for some people, because that's what we like doing. We like teaching people about what beer can be, what beer with flavor can be, and just the possibilities of beer. It's the most complex beverage in the whole world, but like we said at the start of the session, brewing it's complicated, drinking it shouldn't be. Should be bloody simple.
And
crack the can, take a sip, and enjoy. And cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, getting through those, an amazing beer you guys have created there. Really, really awesome beer. And I'm not surprised that you are scaling this as quickly as you are across the country, really. I mean, mainly across Queensland, but there's clearly a huge amount of demand for it across the country.
It's funny, everyone's like, oh, you guys just popped up from nowhere. And again, it's been a lot of people didn't see the first 5 years of the journey.
Of course, as always.
Which was, arguably the best and the funnest, because it never stops being owning your own business with 40 staff. It's never not stressful, but
the staff are sick of hearing about the old back in the old days. We had to walk through 5 feet of snow to deliver a keg from Mullaney down to
I remember we brewed their first keg, and there was a full flood. There was a full flood in Caboolture, and it took us 5 hours to drive home with our keg of Larry, 50 litres. We brewed it at Bacchus. And those stories obviously just come out over a couple of beers, and hopefully we can tell a few more of those down the track. Yeah,
we're excited. We've got the microphones and everything now. I think we're gonna start up a little podcast and tell some old stories from back in the old days, and hang out with some of our new friends and other people who we align with. So watch this space, guys. Here in the webinar. Maybe Your Mates podcast coming soon.
Sounds great. Sounds great. And I really think, I know I said that was going to be the final question, but there's a question that's come in, which I really want to ask you guys actually, from Melissa. Is there any intention of retailing a non-alcoholic pale ale, considering this space?
Well, McGarry did Dry July. We did do a non-alcoholic pale ale.
The beauty of doing Dry July when you're head brewer is that you can make sure that there's a non-alcoholic beer for you to drink during the said Dry July.
Dang delicious.
At the moment, technically, well, we're really happy with the way that the non-alc turned out. It's actually been responded pretty well in the tap room. It's an interesting market, which Matt can probably talk about, but technically, because it's got no ethanol, which is an antibacterial property of a beer, we need to pasteurize it if we were going to package it and wholesale it, which we, like I spoke about before, we don't currently have a pasteurizer. So potentially in the future, when we do look down that track, we could wholesale a beer like that.
We're definitely. It's going to be a staple at the tap house, and I think this is really leaning back towards our fundamental philosophy of including everyone, including all beer drinkers. So the non-alcoholic beer drinkers, we definitely want to look after those drinkers in our tap room first. From a wholesale perspective, it is a pretty aggressive market at the moment. Pretty interested to see what happens to that market, but I think there's definitely a long-term play there, and there could definitely be a mate, what's his name? Designated Dave, for sure. He's driving you home from the party, So again,
and until we get that capacity to make those decisions about where we diversify, that's the opportunities are endless on where we go with the rest of the beers in the core range.
Definitely. Guys, it's been so enjoyable to sit here and just learn so much about your backstory and chat with everybody here. You've all been fantastic asking your questions, and
the questions have been great too.
Yeah,
thanks so much, guys. Really, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for this couple
Robin
of hours.
For staying back.
No, of course.
Doing the extra hours.
I've been well supplied, so look, I'm very happy here, and literally this is very enjoyable to be able to sit here and just enjoy learning a lot more about your business. And to everybody who's here, thank you so much for staying until the very end with us. As you know, the investment offer is opening next Tuesday, and that is your early opportunity to invest into Your Mates Brewing. We're super excited to be opening this investment offer, and can't tell you how much of it really makes for an enjoyable part of my job to actually work with companies like you guys to be able to facilitate investments for as many people as there are here, and as many people as you've had on your EOI list, which is, I have to say, an incredible result so far. And I'm still gobsmacked every single time I check in on those EOI results and see just how many more people have expressed interest to invest. So
thanks, Robin.
It's blown our mind as well. Cheers, guys. Thanks, really appreciate it.
Really excited for the future of the business and this next little step in our journey. And I guess what chapter is this? Chapter 3? I don't know. It's probably chapter 3. Chapter 1, how to start a brewery with $1. Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, I don't know how.
There's a spicy cop in there, spicy cop chapter in there.
Chapter 3, Chapter 3 to infinity and beyond. That's the best title I can come up with.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for everyone who's taking their time on the Tuesday afternoon to join us, and hopefully we've answered as many questions as we can. And really, really excited to have you part of the business.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks, mate.
See ya.
Bye.